Breaking news. Africa has just shaken the world. For the first time in modern history, 3 African nations have stood tall and told the West, get out. Burkina Faso, Ghana, Uganda. United under one message, they have expelled Western miners from their lands. Yes, you heard that right. The very foreign companies that have been draining Africa's gold, copper, cobalt, and oil have now been ordered to leave immediately. And the reaction? Washington and Europe are furious. Investors are panicking. Media outlets are spinning propaganda. But make no mistake, this is more than just economics. This is Africa finally saying, enough. Enough of being looted. Enough of being slaves to foreign powers. Enough of watching Western corporations grow rich while African children starve. And at the center of this historic rebellion, a young soldier, a revolutionary leader, a man the West cannot control. Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. His voice has ignited a fire that has now spread to Ghana and Uganda. And together, these nations have delivered a message to the world. Africa is not your mine. Africa is not your plantation. Africa belongs to Africans. Brothers and sisters, stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal will shock you. Why did these nations expel the West now? What triggered this sudden uprising? And what does this mean for Africa's future and America's empire? The answers will blow your mind. This is not just news. This is history unfolding before our eyes. To understand this wave of expulsions, you must first understand the man who lit the spark, Ibrahim Traoré. In 2022, Burkina Faso was drowning. Terrorist attacks, French military bases, corruption, a nation in chaos. But then came a 36-year-old soldier, a man with the courage to do what others feared. Ibrahim Traoré overthrew the corrupt government, not to enrich himself, but to free his people. And from the first day, he made one thing clear. Burkina Faso will no longer be a colony of the West. We will stand with Africa, for Africa, by Africa. He expelled French troops. He shut down Western propaganda outlets. He called on youth to farm their land, defend their country, and build their future. And perhaps most importantly, he revived the dream of pan-Africanism. Like Thomas Sankara before him, Traoré speaks of unity, of Africa no longer begging for aid, of Africa no longer sending its riches abroad while its children die in poverty. And the youth listened. Across the continent, young Africans began chanting his name. In Mali, in Niger, in South Africa, in Ghana, in Uganda. Traoré became a symbol, the lion of Africa. And now, his roar has awakened Ghana and Uganda, who have joined him in saying, "Foreign miners, leave our soil. Africa will no longer be robbed." This is why America is trembling, because Now let us turn to Ghana, the land of Kwame Nkrumah, the birthplace of Pan-Africanism. For years, Ghana has been hailed as stable and democratic, but beneath the surface, foreign miners have dominated its gold and resources. Billions extracted, pennies returned, villages left in poverty, while corporations in London and New York grow rich. The Ghanaian people know this story too well. And so when Traoré's message reached Accra, it was like striking a match in dry grass. Why are we rich in gold yet poor in life? They asked. Why do foreign miners control our land while our people suffer? The pressure grew, until finally the government announced, foreign miners must leave. Ghana's resources belong to Ghanaians, and then came Uganda. For years, Uganda's oil, gold, and rare earth minerals have been targets of foreign exploitation. Western companies promised investment, but delivered theft, and the Ugandan people grew restless. So when Traoré and Ghana stood up, Uganda followed. We too expel the West, they declared. We too reclaim our land. And now, 3 nations stand united. Burkina Faso, Ghana, Uganda. Different histories, different leaders, but one dream, Africa rising. And the West? They are in shock, because they know, if these 3 nations succeed, others will follow. Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania. And then the empire of exploitation will collapse. Of course, Washington and Brussels are furious. They call these moves reckless. They warn of economic collapse. They paint Traoré and others as dictators. But let us expose the hypocrisy. When America bans entire nations from its soil, is that reckless? When the West plunders Africa for centuries, is that stability? When corporations loot gold and oil, is that democracy? The truth is clear. America believes it has the right to ban, to bomb, to steal. But when Africa finally bans America, suddenly it's a crisis. This is not about law. This is not about stability. This is about control. America fears losing control of Africa's resources because without African gold, copper, cobalt, oil, and uranium, the West cannot survive. This is why they will fight back with propaganda, sanctions, and even destabilization. But Africa is no longer blind. The people see the truth. They know who the real thieves are, and they are ready to defend their land. Make no mistake, my brothers and sisters, this is bigger than three nations. This is the birth of a pan-African alliance. Traoré has shown courage. Ghana has shown leadership. Uganda has shown determination. Together, they have lit a fire that will spread across the continent. Already, whispers are growing in Mali, Niger, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, and even South Africa. Who will be next to expel the West? Because the truth is simple. Africa is the richest continent on Earth, rich in gold. Why? Because for centuries the West has stolen, but now the tide is turning. Imagine an Africa united, with its resources controlled by Africans. Imagine an Africa where no child starves while ships of gold sail to Europe. Imagine an Africa where leaders answer to their people, not to Washington or Paris. That is the vision of this alliance. That is the dream of pan-Africanism. That is why the West is afraid. So what does this mean for the future? The road will not be easy. The West will not give up quietly. They will try to break Ghana. They will try to isolate Uganda. They will try to destroy Traoré. But every attack will only make the people stronger, because the truth has been revealed. Africans now know that unity is power. Africans now see that sovereignty is possible. Africans now believe that freedom is within reach. And once the people believe, no army can stop them. This is more than politics. This is a spiritual awakening. This is a generational shift. The youth are awake. The leaders are rising. The dream is alive. And no matter what the West tries, the fire cannot be put out. So here we are, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Uganda, three nations, one alliance, one message. The West must leave, and the world is watching. The West is furious. The corporations are panicking. But Africa is rising. And now, the question is simple. Will you rise with it? Because this fight is not just for presidents or soldiers. It is for you, the youth, the workers, the farmers, the dreamers. Every African child deserves to grow up free. Every African nation deserves to stand tall. Every African leader must remember, Africa belongs to Africans. So I ask you today, do you stand with Ibrahim Traoré? Do you stand with Ghana? Do you stand with Uganda? Do you stand with Africa? If you do, then share this message. Comment below. Spread the word. Because when history is written, they will say, this was the moment Africa rose. This was the moment Africa said, enough. This was the moment Africa reclaimed its destiny. Brothers and sisters, the lion has awakened. And this is just the beginning. Welcome to African Spotlight 24, your premier source for news and current affairs from across the continent. We're glad you're here. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe, like, and turn on notification to stay up to date with the latest news and analysis. Your support helps us reach more people. Disclaimer, the content of this video is based on credible, publicly available information and is intended for educational, analytical, and informational purposes only. African Spotlight 24 does not promote hate, violence, misinformation, or political unrest. Our goal is to deliver thoughtful insights, highlight local voices, and encourage informed conversations throughout Africa.